Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It is the first Thursday of the year, meaning we now have our first, New Year's weekly challenges for 2024. Obviously, every single Thursday, these get refreshed with a whole new bunch of events, new rewards, and all that good stuff. So to end the year, we had a bit of a, longer week with very, very decent rewards, over 3 million credits for that week. So let's head over to see what the new year has in store for us in terms of the weekly challenges. So as you can see, we've got the typical 5 challenge events. In terms of the events themselves, we have the Sunday Cup starting off nice and easy with Northern Isle Speedway. Then we have another special event with my favorite one-mate car in the entire game, the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Again, that is going to be a fairly decent race, always provides some great on-track action. Then we have the European Clubman Cup 600 over at Brands Hatch. Then we have the Nissan GTR Cup over on Tokyo Expressway East clockwise. So that's really one for the Tokyo grinders. I'm sure those all do very, very well over there. And then to obviously finish off the week, we have the Red Bull X 2019 Nations Cup event at Trial Mountain. In terms of the rewards themselves, for completing one single event, you're going to get a 6-star roulette ticket, parts ticket. So yeah, not a great reward at all. Completing 3 though, you're going to get 200,000 credits, and for completing all 5, you're going to get 750,000 credits just for completing these 5 events over the next week. So heading over to event number 1, this is going to be the Sunday Cup at Northern Isle Speedway. As usual, the completion conditions for all of these is going to be 3rd place. Now, if we do complete this event, we are going to get the standard cash reward, and also on top of that, the 1 event 6-star roulette ticket, part ticket. Really not a great reward. I do prefer getting paid 100k for these very quick events, but it kind of is what it is. Now I'm using the 300 SL Coupe. Now in terms of this vehicle here, and kind of the vehicles that I'm going to use throughout most of these playthroughs, I do try and use vehicles that I don't necessarily use a lot, or maybe ones that have just been sat in the garage for a very, very long time. Maybe I kind of retired them because they've kind of, fallen out of favor and such over the nearly 2 years that this game's been around. Now the 300 SL is one of the more expensive cars in the game, so eventually I'm going to try and make use of that. Doesn't really mean it's too good, but in terms of the event itself, we are playing on the highest difficulty, and I don't think anyone's really going to have any problems with this 5-lap sprint. In all honesty, even in the slower cars, you're going to be done in under 2 minutes. As you can see, a 1 minute 47 for my completion time, and that is going to give us tick number 1 for the week. Now in terms of the payout for this one, with the clean race bonus, it's 7.5k in credits, 3.2 miles in total, and then obviously on top of that is the 6-star roulette ticket, part ticket. So far we've taken away 7.5k credits for the week. So yeah, not too great so far, but who knows, we might be able to get something a little bit better down the line. Moving on, next we have the special event for the week. So it is seeming like these are more of a weekly thing nowadays, which I genuinely cannot complain about. They are getting a bit repetitive though. However, I do like the fact that it is back to the Porsche 911. I think this and the sort of Honda Civic that we saw a few weeks back provide some of the best one-make racing in the entire game. Now for me, the downside of this event is the fact that it is on the full or top list layout. It's a bit of a longer one this time around for a sort of second event. When we had the Tesla, that was only I think a 2-lap sprint. This time around it's a 5-lap event, so we're talking around about 5 minutes to get this one done. 10 minutes to get this one done. In terms of taking advantage of it, now you do have a 700 pp limit, so you cannot go above that, and it must be with this vehicle. I swapped onto the Sport Softs. Again, it only gave me a few extra performance points, but nothing too overpowered, and to be honest, I'd say this is the best way to do it. You've obviously got the DRS wing as well to help you run by those straights. So yeah, overall it is providing some very, very close racing. Again, this for me is the best race of the week in terms of the competitiveness and sort of the way the AI races. It's all about just planning those overtakes. For me, I'm not too confident at Autopolis. It's not really a track that I run very regularly. It's a track that I usually put down towards the bottom of the list for kind of running it, and sort of my priorities of what tracks I do enjoy. So yeah, I'm not too confident here. I was just trying to, you know, pick the passes. We are going to still manage to get the clean race bonus, just a heads up there, even though we had a bit of contact. So I think as long as you're not too harsh, you can pick up a decent clean race bonus, and the payout here really isn't too bad for the 10-minute time that it's going to take you to do this one. So again, just be wise in terms of your overtakes. Don't kind of just throw it down the inside. The, you know, cars that you are racing are very much on a level playing field, so it's all about driver skill. Again, running on the hardest difficulty made it actually a genuinely decent challenge. I don't really like kind of just stomping the AI. I think it just gets very boring, especially when you've been, you know, covering a game for nearly 2 years, that you kind of want to have a bit of competitiveness within the single player. So in terms of that, just pick off your overtakes, you know, try and get them at the best times. As you can see here, we're going to try and move up into second place. So there's a bit of a gap between sort of the midfield and the front of the pack, as well as a couple sort of, you know, kind of hovering around the back of the grid. In terms of the front position battle though, so the battle for first place, I had a genuinely great battle here. So I did manage to take the lead going on to lap 4, but the second place Porsche is just going to kind of outbrake us. He does go a bit aggressive, you know, almost into the side of us, so we're going to take evasive action. He does get that one done though, and that did kind of, you know, ensure that I had a great battle for the majority of lap 4. Going on to lap 5 though, we're going to go side by side once again. This time we're going to try and back out and try and get back on the inside of him. Hopefully he overruns it. He doesn't. He kind of cuts in front a little bit there, so we don't get the best run. Once again, opening that DRS wing and then trying to get this one done before we get into the right-hander. So we've got the inside line here. We're just going to try and outbrake him and see if we can just kind of keep it there and then close it off for the left-hander there, and we do. And that did manage to give us the position after a great battle all the way through lap 4. And there we go. At the end of lap 5, that is going to give us tick number 2 and event completion number 2 out of 5. Now, with the clean race bonus, you're talking at 131,000 credits, so that's taking us upwards of around about 140k for the first 2 events. Obviously no sort of, I guess, ticket reward for that one. Now we are going to get one for this one though. This is a European Clubman Cup 600. So as the title suggests, this is for European cars, aimed at around about 600 performance points over at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. This is going to be a 3-lap sprint, so much quicker than what we saw with the Autopolis event, and then we are going to have another fairly short event with the GTR Cup next. Now I went for the Ferrari F50. I believe it comes in at just over 600 performance points. It's genuinely a car that I really never use. I'm more of an F40 guy myself, but I know there is the lovers out here for the F50. Now, I will say this with the majority of these sort of European 600 ones, I guess. To be honest, it's really weird that it gives them the 600 PP limit. Most of the cars that you're actually racing against are genuinely very underpowered, apart from usually a couple which are more towards the front. Usually the first 2 seem to be much more towards the 600 limit than anything else on the track. You know, you'll have a bunch of sort of hot hatches, then usually a couple of Porsches in the middle, and then you'll usually quite often have an M3 and a Mercedes AMG up front, which genuinely seem more towards the performance level, whereas the rest of the grid does seem to be massively under that. I think these kind of events show it off more than anything. I've noticed that every single time I've ran these European 600 events that everything is very overpowered apart from the car, very underpowered apart from the cars up front, in which case they are genuinely on the actual performance limit. They're much more competitive and they will pull out a massive gap very quickly over the rest of the field. So you'll probably get up to around about P3 relatively easily, and then it's just a case of, you know, chasing down the front 2. Again, the M3, once we've overtook him, has kind of dropped off. We're then going to try and make the move on the AMG. We're going to get it down the inside, and that is eventually going to give us the lead. Now again, we're not having to worry about fuel or tyre use or anything like that. It's just a straight up sprint event. However, that is going to give us our 3rd tick for the weekly challenges, and that is going to give us 200,000 credit ticket on top of the payout that we're getting here. So 37,500 credits with the clean race bonus, taking us upwards of around about 170k. Plus the 200, that's around about 370,000 credits for 3 relatively short events. The longest one so far being that Porsche special event, which was absolutely fantastic, even at a track I didn't like. Moving on to the 4th event, again we're going to have a relatively short one. I'm surprised they kind of didn't order it that the Porsche one went here, but this is going going to be the Nissan GTR Cup at Tokyo Expressway East clockwise. Now, if you've been grinding the 600 event at Tokyo probably for the last near on 2 years at this point, you're going to feel right at home here, obviously just for the GTR cars in the game. So I went for a fully modified R34. I did have nitrous on this, and I didn't realize that even running this at 87% power output, that this thing absolutely flew. So when I've got the nitrous installed, I'm hitting around about 210 to 215, getting the majority of the grid, getting myself into P10 before the first corner, and then going straight into sort of the more, I guess, tighter sections where overtaking can be a little bit, I guess, funny and a little bit awkward at times. So again, I'm just picking my passes. I want to try and get that 50% clean race bonus. Weirdly enough, the GTR Cup does pay out relatively well, and then as soon as we get on that main straight, once again, we're just going to finish off the rest of the nitrous that we've got on the vehicle and absolutely fly all the way down the main straight, and this is going to take us upwards of P2 just after the end of lap 1. Now, once again, it's kind of the situation that the leader is going to be way ahead of the rest of the field, and we are eventually going to get that move done around about the midway point of lap 2, just trying to keep it nice and clean. And after that, you can just essentially enjoy the flames, which is what I did. I just kind of went into cruise mode, you know, making it all pop and bang, and you know, shoot a bit of fire about, which was great fun, to be honest. I really do like that this one went sort of from the day to the night cycle, but kept it dry, unlike the 600 event. So in terms of the payout here, with that clean race bonus, it's 120,000 credits, again taking us way into the 400 to nearly 500k just for those events alone. We are going to get our marathon reward as well, and that is going to bring us on to the final event of the week. So the Nations Cup came with the 1.40 or Spec 2 update. I'm not a fan of these. I just remember that first day when the update dropped, that I was just absolutely exhausted of driving the Red Bulls by the end of the day. But the Tri-Martin one that we are given here is honestly one of the easy ones of the bunch, I would say. So it's going to start you in the middle of the pack anyway, so you don't have to worry about anyone behind you. I recommend just going for a racing soft to a racing soft one-stop run. The tyres will hold on as long as you're not too aggressive, use short shifting and such like that. You don't have to worry about fuel here, so just completely ignore that. In terms of your overtakes, you want to be taking advantage of the slipstream here. This is where the majority of the overtakes are done with this car. You've got the very long straight coming out the tunnels at Trial Mountain, and that is where you can get a ton of overtakes done. However, if you are in a bit of a train or a slipstream train, do expect the AI to start gaining on you if you do pull out of the slipstream too early, especially if they are following. We did get the lead on around about lap 4. At that point, it was all about defensive driving before doing our one and only pit stop at the end of lap 7. Again, tyres completely worn at this point. However, the wear for the second run is going to be a lot lower. So we went from racing softs onto another set of racing softs. We don't have to worry about putting fuel into the car, so just ensure that you just put do not refuel again, or else you're just kind of wasting extra time. Obviously, we're running it on the hardest difficulty, and I do find these events to be relatively tricky in comparison to a lot of the other events that are a little bit longer in length. You're talking around about 20 minutes for this event in total, so not too long, but definitely a bit on the longer side, and you don't really want to kind of risk messing it up. Now, I'm not actually going to get the clean race bonus here, so I just thought I'd give you a heads up. If you do get it, you're talking 300k for this one, which will take you up to around about 800k, and then as well as your completion ticket, which is about 750. So you're talking about 1.5 million total credits as long as you are racing nice and clean, which to be honest, I did not at this one. I just find these cars relatively awkward. They're constantly in train, so picking off the overtakes can be, you know, again, quite awkward. In terms of the front runners though, they will pit in around about the end of lap 8, so I went for the undercut on them. Again, just managing to get those positions done as they're kind of pottering around with very worn tyres on that 8th lap, whereas we're on the fresh ones. Again, and then we're just going to pick off the rest of the grid, which I believe the majority are running mediums. So again, they're not going to have the performance that we genuinely do. However, coming to the end of lap 14, we've got a few worn tyres, but we did pull out a decent gap, and that's going to give us our 5th and final tick of the week. Like I mentioned, I didn't get the clean race bonus here, but if you do get it, you will be getting 300k, meaning that your total earnings for this week can be roughly around about 1.5 million credits, which isn't too bad. It's still better than normal. Again, usually we kind of get a 500k ticket, but we're getting a 750k this time around, which I am not going to complain about at all. Much better than the kind of usual drivel. It is a shame that we got a parts ticket instead of 100k though. So let's go ahead and check out the rewards for the week. So we're just going to open up the parts ticket first. Again, perhaps one of the most useless tickets in the history of GT7. I really don't like these things because most of the time you will get a part for a car that you're not bothered about. So as you can see here, we're going to get obviously one of these special parts that come off these tickets. So we've got the carbon propeller shaft for the Aston Martin DB11, which isn't too bad. It's quite a tunable car. And then we're just going to add the credit reward ticket. So for free, we're going to put the 200k on, and then for 5 event completions, we're going to put this 750k on. So around about 1.5 mil for this week. Let me know what you think of these events. I genuinely enjoyed them this week. Again, it wasn't too long, but it wasn't too short. And as always, my highlight of the week when this car turns up was the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. The one-make races in that is absolutely fantastic, as long as you're not making yourself, I guess, too overpowered. So let me know what you think down below. I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day, guys, and a fantastic rest of your week. Take care, guys. Peace.